Okay, Uncle, to start with, let me congratulate you on your 96th birthday.
Thank you.
And we all join you in wishing you and Auntie many more to come. Let's all give Uncle a hand.
Thank you very much.
And now, Uncle, we'll talk about your Air Force days. To start with, I was talking earlier also, that what made you join the Air Force? Knowing that you came from a very, very affluent family and you didn't need a job to earn money as such. Unlike people like me, we joined the Air Force for the purpose of a naukri, to make some money and make a livelihood. You didn't need anything like that. So what generated this interest in joining the Air Force?
You see, what happened was when I finished my BA, Government College of Lahore, I was only 19.
Okay.
End of 19. So I had already got admission in Cambridge, in Pembroke College, Cambridge. But my brother had already gone to Leeds, so he was there, and he was coming back, and I was supposed to go back to.
This was what year, Uncle?
That was 39.
Just before the war.
39, no, just before the war. So as it happened, you see that. Since the war came, and then Leeds, my brother came back from Leeds, and I had to cancel my going to Cambridge, so I don't know what to do with myself. So I said, Uncle Sujit had already got a pilot's A license earlier on, and we had one aircraft called Miles Hawk, which bought from Patala. Uncle used to fly that aircraft.
Okay. What was the airplane, Uncle?
Miles management, Miles. So it was a three-seater thing, with a covered cockpit and everything. It was a very nice aircraft, and a very reliable airplane. Made of, not metal, but
fabric,
plywood. So anyway, Uncle Sujit had already gone to Habania for training in Iraq. And then I was very keen on horses and everything. I was very keen to go on to cavalry. So grandfather said, that's what he said, you know. To Air Force join karna. That's okay, sir. But he knew one Group Captain Bustle, very impressive man. He was to be posted in Simla.
Okay.
So at that time there were a shortage of people, and they wanted to pick up people, you know, to join the Air Force and all. So I went to see him, and he said, okay. But he sent me, then gave me a appointment in with 2 or 3, 4 people like that in Ambala. In the selection committee he was the chairman, and Group Captain Squadron Mukherjee, Subato Mukherjee was the chairman, also member, and one DGCA, I forget his name now, he was there. So I asked various questions and things like that, and after that they said, okay, go for medical. So I went for medical passed. So they said, okay, you can go back, we'll let you know. So I got the information later on that I have to go to Karachi.
For your training? For
my initial training.
Initial training.
So that was civil training. So I went to Karachi. As it happened, where I stayed was people who had agency of General Motors in Lahore.
Okay.
Narayan Das and Company, and he used to we had a lot of dealing with them. So I stayed in that house, and they gave me a house, car to use and everything. So I got the training there. My old instructor, first instructor was Gupte. He was Maharashtrian guy. And remember the time that Zeppelin was supposed to come. And they had made a landing thing for it, a huge big tower or something, and we used to go around it to
in a tiger moth, you said?
Tiger moth. Gypsy moth and tiger moth, both aircraft were there. So after the few hours flying there, we finished that, and then we came back to Ambala again. I mean, into Simla. So then we got instruction to go to Lahore for our for training, selection for the Air Force and everything. In those days, Boy Scout had a big, huge organization in Lahore.
Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts. So Hogg was the boss of that Boy Scout. And they gave him a rank of squadron leader and took over the whole building, gave him the CO as a CO. And all our staff and everything, CGI and instructors and everything, they came from England.
Nice.
My instructor was Sergeant Hart.
Sergeant Hart.
I still got a picture there, very nice there. And anyway, so eventually we started flying there. And
you're flying Tiger Moths and all this?
Tiger Moth. And that's the time when Jaswant also joined in.
Okay.
I still remember his coming into reporting, his frontier force boots, frontier force socks, you know, army, and he saluted. He said, "Flying officer Jaswant Singh reporting for duty, sir." Sergeant was taking the grass, so he said, "Please sit down, sir. Please sit down." And that's how we came to know Jaswant, you know. So that's the reason we started flying. And this other funny story here. As it happened, Sergeant Hart was the same, he and I had the same instructor.
Same?
Sergeant Hart. So after a few hours, we were going solo and everything else like that. And he said, "Oh, why don't you both go and fly yourself, you know?"
You and Jaswant?
Jaswant. So Jaswant said, "मैं fly करूँगा, मैं तू okay sir, please." So I hopped in the front and he was at the back because the people were up there. So went up there. There he did a loop, steep turn, left, right, and everything. And then I'll show you a roll. So he went on his back like this.
Tiger Moth.
Tiger Moth. And he stayed there because if you hang too much there, all the muck and dirt comes falling away. Coming on it.
Little negative gear is all on you.
And you know, I stick was going up and down like that. I couldn't know what's happening. So eventually I reached out and opposite and everything, got the aircraft out. And eventually then we did some flying and came back, he landed. And you know, you carry your parachute, take it off, and you'll be walking at the whole thing. And this is the Sina. Then I extra paid the Sina. So I said, "Don't tell anybody." Like, okay, so why should I tell anybody about it? Eventually, what happened? You know, his feet were small.
He couldn't reach the pedals?
He reached the pedal when he went back to his back. He couldn't get it back to his pedals. I don't know, anyway, there was a short story about that. So we did that, and as it happened, I got the prize for the best pilot of the course and things like that. The governor came and gave the prize and everything like that. I still got a photograph of him somewhere the other. And then after that, we went from there, we went to Ambala.
Okay, back to Ambala.
Back to Ambala again.
No, you were in Lahore all this time.
No, we were in Lahore, yes. We went to Ambala, and then we get to our other training. We started on properties, and then eventually Hawker Hart.
I have a question here. All these aeroplanes, they did not have their particular trainers? You went from one type to the other type without doing like duel with instructor to convert onto another aeroplane?
No.
There was no such thing?
No. But this also in Hawker Hart, they didn't have any trainer.
So you just switched from Harvard to Hawker?
No, not Harvard to Barbara. No. Harvard comes later.
Later, now you're on
I'm on Hawker.
So what was the procedure? Like you sit in the cockpit, get familiarized with the cockpit?
No, there's a dual control in that.
Oh, they had a dual control?
Dual control.
Okay. And subsequently the first aeroplane which did not have a dual control, I guess, was the Hurricane.
Hurricane, yeah.
Before that, all of them had dual control?
Not well, mostly. Mostly. we had this property
Hanji.
that also one, I think, aircraft was dual control, but also.
Normally it's one or two in the squadron, otherwise.
Yeah.
And uncle, what was the life like in the squadron? Like,
No, I'm talking about training enough, time being. Training was we had this beautiful Royal Air Force mess
in Ambala.
in Ambala. And we
Same mess is still there.
same is still there with Royal Air Force Eagle.
It's still the same mess is still there. Of course, they've done it up now. I have stayed in that mess also. Just next to Sarhan Club.
Next to Sarhan Club. And then, of course, we see there's. But the squadron was there also. Number 1 squadron was there. Uncle Sujit was there. Mayor Singh was there.
That's right.
And various other people. Then eventually, we used to have mess. We had to have mess
night.
Mess night, you know.
Dining in night.
Dining in night and all. We used to be all come there, and of course we had games after that, you know.
Okay.
One game was these waste paper basket like that, you know, kick it around like a football,
That's it.
but hands on the back, not using anything like that, you know. And there's one other game which you played was that you lie down next to your trap opposite, and then
Try and flip the other guy over.
flip the other guy over. And I told, and Mukherjee was there. Do you remember very tall?
I remember it very well, uncle.
He was my observer for a long time.
He was the AOA when I was
He was
in
AOA.
Pakistan.
Okay, he was my observer for a long time.
Okay. He was an observer.
And he was actually original member of that Boy Scout organization, where the squadron leader Hogg was.
T.S. Wilk.
P.S.
T. Tango.
T.S. Teja Singh.
Teja Singh.
I remember. He was my observer for a long time. He was a very tough, very nice fellow actually. He's a typical judge from that
Uncle,
area.
now I would really don't know. What was the observer's role?
Observer was mostly navigation.
He was navigator.
Navigator. They had that O.
Oh, yeah. I remember he used to wear the O wing.
Observer.
Half wing with O.
Oh, how O. He was a
Because
navigator.
the navigator, the observer, the gunner, and they were
WT operator.
WT. They also had, all of them had half wings.
No, they didn't have any.
WT didn't have wing.
No.
Navigator had, gunner had,
Gunner also didn't
gunner
have.
also didn't.
No.
Just the observer and the navigator.
Because this is made very much before the gunners came into the picture, you know, for that whole thing. And they were there. Then eventually we used to go out escorting, we used to anti-submarine patrols. They were first posting, as I answered earlier on. Anti-submarine patrols too. My posting was there in Madras, number 1 coastal flight.
Number 1 coastal flight.
Number 2 was in Calcutta, number 3 was in Karachi, I think, something like that.
And uncle, this is all Royal Indian Air Force?
No, Royal came much later, I'll tell you that later.
This is just
Indian Air Force.
RAF.
IAF.
So this is IAF.
IAF. Everything was Royal. I mean, the colors were Royal, Royal Air Force and everything, but IAF,
IAF.
everywhere. And everything, they were all Royal Air Force.
Oh, Royal Air Force.
The Britishers, and other rank also, they were all these things.
And now you're flying what they call the...
After that, we went over to, after this coastal flights and everything. And then this job was taken over by Blenheims, Royal Air Force.
Okay.
So they became surplus to that matter. So all these flights, like Meenu engineer, he used to be in Calcutta in this coastal flight, and various other people. So we formed up in Rasalpur to form number 6 squadron.
Rasalpur
in Northwest Frontier, near Nowshera.
I know where Rasalpur.
Beautiful mess, you know. The fireplace was that big, huge big seat, leather seats were there, and fire were lovely, beautiful.
And what aeroplane was there? Were you flying there?
They were converted first on Harvard, did a solo on Howard
Anji.
for 2-3 hours, 2 hours.
How many hours did you do on the Howard, uncle?
No, I didn't. I mean, in training or otherwise.
The total, uncle.
No, total I did quite a lot because after the training I did about 2 or 3 hours, I think,
That's all.
and then 2 hours. Then eventually to convert into hurricanes.
Okay.
And hurricane, then after that we got 1 hour already posted in Scotland for communication and everything like that.
So the hurricane training was done on the Howard 2B. If somebody new came, you
You did Harvard first, and then
switched over to the hurricane.
hurricane. Those quite different. He's a radial engine. This is inland engine.
Much longer engine, uncle.
Not much longer engine. No.
Propeller touching the ground, all those possibilities were there
No.
while taking off.
Where hurricane?
Hurricane.
No. It was quite high like this.
When you were in the takeoff attitude, the propeller was.
No.
There were no cases of propeller touching the runway while taking off.
Not that I know. Never.
Okay. So I heard that there was. It was a huge. In fact, the Spitfire, I'm told, had a problem with a much longer engine and.
I flew a Spitfire, not operationally, but I've flown it. I was posted as a to court of inquiry.
Achha.
So I said, I have not flown a Spitfire. He said, well, why don't you take one? So I flew one here, there, but not operationally, but it's a lovely aircraft to fly. But I think I prefer Hurricane because I got used to it.
The saying goes, probably you can highlight it, that it is the Hurricane which won the Battle of Britain and not the Spitfire.
No.
The workhorse was the Hurricane.
Workhorse definitely was the Hurricane. There's no doubt about that.
Everybody says Spitfire was a better aeroplane, better, maneuverability, more power.
Definitely my mom.
But Hurricane, they say, was much more rugged, much more reliable.
It's a solid aircraft. You can hit a tree and you come home. On the fact is
That's what I hear. That was a very rugged and a reliable aeroplane.
Yeah, but I must tell you a story about the whole thing now, because we warmed there, then we were RHD Singh, one Ravinder Haridarshan Singh, supposed to take over the Scotland.
What was the name, uncle?
Ravinder Haridarshan Singh, RHD Singh.
Never heard of it.
And he was, luckily he never turned up, he broke his arm, he never came to us. When Mayor Singh was doing staff college in Kota,
Anji.
so he was said, you take over the Scotland.
Okay.
So he finished his course or didn't course, then he came over from there to Salpo to take over Scotland.
That's it.
And he was absolutely, he's a he kind of pilot's man for that matter. Come to the Scotland, come to the mess, everybody got around him, he had to say something with the other.
Listen to him and
listen to him and everything. And Mukherjee used to come sometimes, nobody bothered about him, he wouldn't make it main thing. So anyway, he was really a fantastic, we gave him many aircraft to fly, I mean just sit and go. But that was quite amazing. But Hurricane was a sort of very lovely airplane.
I don't know, uncle, if you would like to answer, what sort of a rivalry existed between Mihir Singh and Mukherjee?
I don't know.
I've only heard about it, and it's very evident that the Air Force knows about it, but nobody ever talks about it, or probably nobody knows. Nobody as far back as you even is present today.
I remember once in a meeting, Mukherjee had called a meeting.
Or Mihir Singh?
No, a meeting in
Mess.
when we posted there. I'm talking much later now.
Okay.
When we finished back, he had come back from Burma and everything. And Mukherjee, and we posted in. I was in East Scotland then.
That's right.
I had taken Mayor Singh, 6th Scotland, to Burma, Cox's Bazar, you asked for 7. And from there I was posted back to Principal Scotland, which was in East Scotland.
In where?
In East Scotland.
3 Scotland.
And East Scotland was posted in that time. It was doing a course, a low-tech course in Ranchi.
Okay.
I joined them there.
That's it.
Then I told Principal was same course as Arjun.
Okay.
But Arjun told me this story himself. He said the amazing part is this: when they go for the interview or this carnival, and this principal got 500 out of 500 in an interview.
Principal say.
Principal.
What happened to Uncle when he died somewhere down the line?
I'll tell you that's another story, you know. So that is the thing. What happened was that he was actually from Patiala.
Okay.
Patiala side. I mean, her family was married to Papinder Singh.
Okay.
I used to know him when he was in school in Chiefs College.
Okay.
But he was a little too senior to me, or he was the same batch as Arjun. Arjun was 1 year senior to me. So anyway, when I went there, I told the principal then, I said, I've been to Burma. I've been done one operation with 6 squadron. Let us go to Gorakhpur, quiet aircraft, quiet landing ground, and we train there and go straight to Burma again. He said, no, we'll think about it. Then eventually he said, you take the squadron to Kohat.
Okay.
So then I took that squadron from Ranchi, or from Lucknow, things like Lahore, and then to Kohat.
Uncle, let me stop here. How did you move the squadron those days? The aeroplane flew. What about the rest of the stuff? By train?
By all staff came by train.
By train.
We didn't have any vehicle transport.
No road transportation. No. It was all. But obviously, you did not have any big airplane to carry your stuff. There was no such thing.
No, Dakota was there, but you wanted
to move a full squadron in an aeroplane.
Yeah, no, we didn't have any of these things, you know.
Okay. So everything went by train?
Everything by train, somehow you got there.
And they used to get a special train or bogies?
Whatever it was, I did not know. Because when I took the advance party myself...
Because the distance from Ranchi to Kohat is quite a bit.
No, Ranchi to Kohat, yeah. Maybe, but we didn't have so much there somehow. I don't know, because I had nothing to do with it. Frankly, I just went to the aircraft to that place. But that was the second time to go to Kohat. And then Kohat, can you imagine flying over Burma? All these huge big trees, and I've never seen any so thick as forest in Burma.
From green to desert?
To desert, rocks.
Mountains, rocks.
Mountains. Tremendous rocks.
As Uncle, we bypassed the rivalry point between Meher Singh and Mukherjee. Well, you're dodging it on purpose? Or?
No dodging. I think he had a bit of, he didn't like, but Mukherjee was...
What was their seniority difference, Uncle?
Quite a lot.
Like what? Mukherjee was how much senior?
He was...
1 year?
He was senior most, for that matter, Mukherjee. Because the other people, the A Singh and B Singh, 2 people got killed.
I've
heard about the story, but I never met them myself.
No, I've only heard.
I've also heard.
A Singh, B Singh.
A Singh and B Singh, they collided in there, in Karachi, near Karachi.
You must have heard or must be knowing, Uncle, they used to play a game called Chicken Chicken. You come head on and the guy who turns first is the chicken?
No. No, I never
We heard these stories, you know.
No.
Somebody even said that A Singh, B Singh were playing chicken and they collided.
No. They were going home, coming back to Karachi, something or the other happened, you know.
How did they try to do it?
I did not know because I wasn't there then. It was before my time. Anyway,
so Mukherjee was like a year senior to Meher Singh?
No, more than that.
More than that?
More than that.
What year is the Mukherjee Commission?
Look, I do not know the commission because you can see the commission.
37?
No, he is much earlier than that.
Earlier than that?
And engineer, SP engineer, was junior to him. Junior to Mukherjee. Mukherjee was senior to him. Awan was one. Awan, we've never heard of him.
I've heard of him, Uncle.
Awan was a very nice man. I remember him very well. And he was
same batch as Mukherjee?
No, he was junior to him.
So Mukherjee was the senior?
He was senior.
So when he became the first chief of the Indian Air Force,
he was chief.
Rightfully, he was, because he's senior most. Because we used to hear that there was some favoritism by Nehru against Meher Singh.
No.
Meher Singh was a more deserving case.
No,
only
no,
heard-
no. There's no question of that. Mayor Singh was junior.
Okay, so Mukherjee rightfully became the
I think Mayor Singh was about 3 courses to senior to Arjun. He also from Lalpur.
No, uncle, yours is 4th course.
No,
Arjun Mukherjee was 1st course.
I do not know that courses at that time. In our days, this course started later, no? That I do not know when 1st or 2nd, 3rd, where it was there. Well, I'm only in 4th course, 5th course, then onwards.
There, then the sequence is maintained.
Then the
Before
sequence.
that, there is like nobody knows which course he's in.
No, nobody. Because I know that Arjun was same time as Principal.
Really?
Principal,
And Arjun was
Arjun same time. They're together. But there's no comparison between the two. I'll tell you your question about what happened to him.
Hanji.
I was with him in cohort that time, and when Jumbo Majumdar,
Hanji, I
you
heard the name of him.
heard of him. I know him very well. He got DFC in Burma, then he got DFC in England.
Yeah.
And came back.
Recently, there was an article on him that his medals are in England. Was it Majumdar? I think Majumdar only. His medal, he was MBC and bar?
No, he was DFC,
Wait, who was MBC and bar, uncle?
DFC.
DFC and bar.
Two DFC, he had two, one DFC.
Majumdar. He's the one that his medals are in England and they want to bring them back here.
I don't know how.
An article recently about a month ago.
But I met him when he came back from England. He came to cohort. That's exactly what I've been telling you. Majumdar was doing there's a train. It was all fitted up with all this for going for propaganda to join the services and things like that. And he used to read demonstration on the train. Okay. His low rolls on the hurricane. And he came to cohort, and they had lunch together, Polly, Principal and all. Then they said, come, let's go for a dog fight.
Who is this? Polly and?
Polly and Majumdar.
Polly Mera?
No, Principal.
Principal and Majumdar, okay.
Majumdar. And I wasn't there. I had left about 2 weeks earlier than that.
Okay.
I left and joined number 4 squadron. I took over number squadron. And you know that the amazing part is that I took over squadron from squadron leader Sharp. He was a New Zealander. And he got a DSO in that squadron. Nobody knows about the number 4 squadron had a DSO also.
Okay.
Mir Singh had DSO. After that, Sharp got a DSO also.
Both 4 squadron?
No, Mir Singh was 6 squadron.
6 squadron.
Mir Singh DSO came when we were in Burma. And Mountbatten came and ended there, and suddenly we were all sitting there. He pinged the DSO on him. We all sort of got flabbergasted. It's beautiful. I was after the DFC DSO for a long time. I can't. She had it, his wife.
Uncle, even I was asked to, Harbhajan Khara, his nephew, still got a farm in Dibdeba. In fact, we meet him every day. He comes to see Uncle Bhaji. He wanted to find out where is that DSO. DSO. So he tried to find out. It was last with his daughter, sister or daughter. Mir Singh
didn't have any children.
No, sister. You see, his mother was here. In Dibda, Maji and Mr. Suraj Singh's Bua. And she, I think, died here. Then his wife and he never got along.
No.
Did they have an adopted child?
No. I do not know. Because actually, I'll tell you what happened. When they were in Umbala, I was under training when I was ages ago. I was there, Mir Singh got married then. And much against his will, I do not know. But I never ever remember they were living together. Only thing was that Mir Singh was very fond of bridge. And Uncle Sujit, they used to go bridge table. DP, come here, please take her to the pictures. She loves to go to picture. So I had to, under training, so I had to take flying officer medicines, I have to put pictures and things like that. No, fine, that's okay. That's all right. But that I don't remember more about that after that, you know.
But nobody could find that DSO. I don't know. Somebody said it was with this lady who was
Okay, I've also tried.
adopted.
Then he went to Chandigarh, I think.
Chandigarh. It was last in that house in Chandigarh. After that, nobody knows what happened to it.
It's such a shame.
Then what happened in the dogfight with the Mujumdar and Pritpal?
So they went up to dogfight, which I've heard.
And this is in Hurricanes?
Hurricane, both Hurricanes. So they took off, and he actually, the reason why I'm saying is that Pali did not like to fly very much.
Okay.
Every time I said that if you want to go to conference and somewhere Delhi or the other, can DP come and take him to Delhi or something in Harvard. And wherever he went, I had to fly him. And if he wanted to go squadron going, he said, you lead the squadron, you know. And he used to follow back or something. Somewhere that he was not very fond of.
Why did he volunteer to go and have a dogfight?
I don't know why he didn't. I mean, they had sitting in the mess. I remember cohort mess. And that's what happened. And he went up there, and he was chasing him, and he went down, and he went on a dive and never came out.
Then, uncle?
So then I had left Scotland. I had already gone to number 4 in Burma. By the time, because Burma had Japanese started retreating, and we got further up and up like that. And only thing was that squadron was amazing. The history I do not know people that they had one flight was mixed.
Oh.
One is Indian, one is Europeans. European means Canadians, and we had a Canadian and called New Zealander.
New Zealanders.
Something like that, you know. And the BORs also, which of the rank, they were.
How many Indian pilots were there? In 4?
There were 6 or 7, I think.
Kaun si? If you remember.
I've heard Surinder.
Okay.
And Bulgavkar.
Okay.
And
Pramar you're talking about?
No, Surinder. Surinder, no, Pramar. Surinder Siga and Bulgavkar and I didn't stay very long with the squadron, you know, because I was there. And Maheshi. And then we moved in to Ramni Islands.
Okay.
From there forward, you know. From there I got to my flying day and night practice that matter all the time. So I had a bit of trouble with my hand. I couldn't feel anything, you know. So Asghar, who was in my flight for a long time, he used to be very close. He was posted very close to it. He was not commanding a squadron. He was senior flight commander that time. And I rang him up. I said, look, I have to go to Calcutta to BMH because I think I'm not feeling too well. So he said, sir, don't worry, I'll fly you. So he came over in Harvard, took me to BMH Calcutta.
Okay.
From there I left the squadron, and I went to from Nagpur, this, Calcutta, this, then Shantinlad. And suddenly I was in Sikandrabad.
Okay.
Then I was told that you have to go to Hedginji Hospital in Oxford.
Oxford? Achha.
And we all arranged that.
What was the problem, uncle, with the hand?
Well, you know, very funny, I lost the feeling of it. That only lasted for 2 days or 1 day. After that it was okay again.
But they declared you out for flying after that?
No, I'm coming back now. So I, Oxford, and so my brother, and there was a lot of British nurses there. He said, he said, you can take a nurse with you.
Okay.
Can you imagine? And I said, well, good enough to go there. My brother said, nothing doing, I'm going with you. So anyway, so he was supposed to come with me, and he went from that place to Skandar, from Pune to Karachi, and there we were getting to a flying boat,
Okay.
Sunderland, and let's go from Karachi to
What were these flying boats, uncle? Which one was it?
Sunderland,
Sutherland.
Sunderland,
Sunderland.
4-engine,
Okay.
land on water.
Water.
Karachi to Bahrain, Bahrain to Cairo,
Okay.
Cairo to Sicily, spend the night in Cairo, spend the night in Sicily, and next day to Poole.
To Gujarat?
Poole,
Where is it?
Dorset,
Okay.
Dorset, Poole, and from there they brought us in a, they said that there's only women's mess there.
Anji.
So they gave us 2 rooms there. I still remember very much. And next day, 2 days afterwards, the ambulance came from Oxford and took me to Oxford.
And how long were you there?
I had in the hospital. There's one. It was a ladies' college, St. Hughes,
Okay.
and that's converted into Head Injuries Hospital.
Okay.
They gave me lovely rooms there to stay and everything. And everything, I've recovered. Nothing was wrong with me for that matter, you know. Then I could go, then they checked me for 2, 3, 4 days. You can go out if you want to, or walk around, take your nurse with you, something like that, you know. So I was there for about a month and a half or so.
Okay.
But I was allowed to go out to Oxford. And that's the reason why I went around. I met the dean of St. John's College.
Okay.
So talking to him about all this thing. And there was an Air Force station called Bryce Norton next door.
Okay.
And I used to go there also to visit them. I have that pistol with me, you know. Then he said, why don't you join Oxford after we leave your finish your term? I said, I'd love to do that. So I got admission in St. John's, that was Oxford also.
I see.
But I didn't, eventually I came back to here.
Your hand got fixed up then? हाथ ठीक हो गया?
हाँ, बिल्कुल हाथ बिल्कुल ठीक थी feeling.
They just wanted to.
So
when did you finally come back to India?
now I'll tell you what happened then was they gave me 3 months leave there.
Okay.
And you know, Professor Simon, who was the neurologist, something or the other, he came and stood there and felt right here. He said, you can go back to flying, go back to flying category, you know. And I went back.
Flying categories, those is also A1, G1?
I do not know what this is.
Yeah, because now we have A1, G1, A1, G2, A2, G1. Air and ground. A is air, G is ground. So basically the fighter pilots are all A1, G1. But if anything, little bit here and there, they could become A1, G2 or A2, G1. That A2 means only dual flying. You can't fly alone. So you didn't have any such categories.
No such thing. Anyway, they said, okay, they gave me 3 months leave in England. You're going to spend like that. So, but before I could take the leave and everything like that, and everything was all fixed, you know, everything was free, but bus, never paid for a bus, never paid for a train, and everything. So the uniform was there. Air Force uniforms were respected all over the place. Then I suddenly got a message that I've been posted back to India. To come back. So I had a lot of pay left, you know, because I had hardly spent any money there. Everything was free. And I bought a lovely gun, from Churchill for that matter. And my brother was still there, and he could take a weapon back because he didn't have to have a license, you know. So anyway, so I posted back to India as ADC to Auchinleck. So I came back here, and whom do I see there? I saw Nawab of Rampur, old Bachchan, in captain's uniform or something.
With Auckland.
ADC was Auchinleck. So I said, he said, you ADC? I said, look, I don't want to do the ADC business now. I want to either go back to flying or you just let me go. So they said,
Whose decision was this, uncle?
Oh.
Chief? Whether you go as ADC or you go back to flying?
you know, it was posting came like that, you know. So then I saw Mukherjee and told him, this is, I don't want to go to the ADC to the thing. Who's going to defend? So then I posted as coordinator operation to Shar
Okay.
as a thing.
Back to Hurricanes.
Back to Hurricane, but not flying. I mean, you can pick up when it's got aircraft you want to go. I remember that Akam the Crow was my A1C
Okay.
A1C there. And I remember him, he said, he put me on this court of inquiry on a Spitfire. Like I said, I have never flown a Spitfire. How will I go to inquiry? Who's stopping? Who wanted to take it? So I went there. I said, give me a Spitfire. I could take it. What do you want? Here's a book. So just take me back. Start flying Spitfire.
Uncle, there must have been a fair amount of difference between Hurricane and Spitfire.
Not much. No.
Not much?
No. Yeah, well, of course it must, because you can't see anything in front.
Exactly. That's what I hear. I've never sat in one, but
No.
the Spitfire is like this.
Spitfire like that, you did wayward.
We taxi, even the Howard used to taxi like that.
Oh. I was used to Howard in any case. I loved Howard, really. I tell you, it was the best aircraft.
It was the best aeroplane.
Beautiful aircraft. And then from there I got flying around here, there and everything, and I got a message that a company called me. He said, you want to go to Australia? Make a where is Australia?
Where, uncle?
Australia. Make a where is Australia? That is the reason, no? He said, well, 20 minutes time, the aircraft's leaving for Delhi. If you want to go, you can jump in the aircraft. So my Gurdeep Singh was my bear, peep khanda si thodi si. मैं के कपड़े लेके दिल्ली गया मैं jumped in the aircraft went to Delhi. Because there, of course, there was an interview business like that too. That's a bit of AOCNC, AVM, I think that time.
Kaun si, uncle?
British.
Achha.
And he said, well, we'll give you a job. So I posted up to in the Joint Chiefs of Staff posting Sigi. When I was there, there's one brigadier, Mizzen, very nice chap, who was in charge of the mission, and Colonel Sanders, who happened to later on came to know Johnny's uncle, and one brigadier, one major, and myself as Air Force. So looking after the occupation force of Japan. My squadron number 4 went to Japan.
Forge was the first squadron to go overseas.
That was my whole squadron, 4th squadron.
They were in Japan, that's right.
He went to Japan and was commanded by
Who was commanding it until that time?
Shivdev,
Shivdev,
who have never been in forum. Shivdev was commanding. So.
Yes.
And
I remember this.
And Minu Engineer went with him.
Okay.
Minu Engineer, same batch, you know. Shivdev and Minu. And I went to that place, and then the whole life changes. You met Australia, and then I posted as a job there, and there's another Royal Air Force unit in the same setup. And I was posted there in the Royal Air Force, because then suddenly this Mera came.
Polymera.
This Mera who died the other day, I mean...
Polymera.
Omi Mera. I suddenly saw his bag lying there in my room. In his book he says that I went and picked him up from the airport or something, but I never did. But anyway, what was, I saw his bag like this. I said, my relief has come. Why send him back? So anyway, so I said, so I left Australia. Then I came back to India. I went to see Mukherjee. I'm still wearing my, at that time, khakis, the Australian uniform. They wear a tie all the time, black ties. So I went to see Mukherjee, and Mukherjee gave me a rocket. He said,
Which was the air headquarters?
headquarters होते जलेबी चौक है ना जरा
In Delhi?
हाँ दिल्ली
Kira Chowk, uncle?
जलेबी चौक है ना
Which is Jalebi Chowk? I don't know.
that is in as you go from here it's in the same area a small little हैगे सीगे होते
Oh, not the Central Vista mess.
no Mr Mess नहीं I'm talking about office you're talking about
Where was the air headquarters, uncle?
the headquarters is in the main building which is there
वो तो है नहीं सी building होना चाहिए.
नहीं
बात
मेन
बनी है.
वो नहीं वो बिल्डिंग नहीं जो मेन
ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੁਣ ਵਾਯੂ ਭਵਨ ਹੈ.
नहीं वो तो नहीं भाई didn't exist that time
There nothing was there.
no it was in the same
The cantonment area?
नहीं same in the in
Old Delhi.
नहीं in Delhi it's as you go the car on the end in this very हैगा ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ
जिमखाना क्लब
हैं
रोशनारा क्लब
रोशन क्लब जिथे दफ्तर हैगा
Isn't Roshanara Club Gymkhana Club?
नहीं not Roshana Club the meeting is there जिथे मेरा एक छोटा दफ्तर ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ as you on the road comes from this side
पता नहीं था. Anyway.
you know
पार्लियामेंट हाउस
अच्छा.
Parliament House ਨਾਲ ਇਹ
ਅੱਛਾ,
ਦਫ਼ਤਰ ਮੇਨ ਦਫ਼ਤਰ ਜਿੱਥੇ
Okay.
ਉੱਥੇ ਸੀ ਹੈਡਕੁਆਟਰ ਹਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਸੀ
So then what did he say, uncle? That since when have you joined the Australian Air Force? Ah.
So because he had been writing letters, Mera, to him. He got a Rolls Royce here, he does this, he lived like a king, sort of thing like that.
Okay.
Mera. So because I used to censor them, you know, because I was in a village there, you could do it. Anyway, sir, those things don't go about it. Then eventually Uncle Surjit met me and he said, I came back from, this means I come back from, I came from Australia now.
हाँ जी.
Eh?
हाँ जी.
Oh.
You met Mukherjee. उसके बाद where did they send you?
Then I posted as in this in Tambram, as in Tambram
हाँ जी.
as squadron leader training or something like that. You know, so I didn't feel like
This
going.
was the year.
46, 47,
47.
no,
Before the
48.
40. Partition हो गया.
पार्टीशन हो गई थी नहीं पार्टीशन हो गई थी नहीं पार्टीशन नहीं आई
Before partition. So 47.
47 but then Uncle Surjit came he met me he said "Ki karna why I love the Air Force why do you leave it and everything like that and all I said what chances were go Oxford was okay this thing he said no come back Syria but he did not
He persuaded you to leave.
he did everything he got released I got a B class release they call it national importance they released me from that I got released in Lahore
Okay.
my release was in Lahore most of us then left the Air Force
Yes, uncle, now we'll ask you the last, not the least question.
most important in your life
Most important. Where and how did you find this lovely lady?
that's very interesting local
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
you're talking about Australia
हाँ,
first
हाँ.
you want
No,
to
we'll only. No, we want to know how uncle found auntie.
how that you want to know
Yes, we all want to know.
of course Amma.
yeah, when I went from in that mission we went with these people from Delhi to Colombo so 1 week spent there and then from there we went up to Cook Island to Perth to Sydney and from there I sort of met somebody
How was this journey, uncle?
which one? By Liberator
Liberator. From.
from Delhi to Colombo by Dakota
Okay.
Then from Colombo to Cox Island.
That's now Bangladesh.
Cox Island.
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh?
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
That's very far in the sea. Not Bangladesh.
Cox Island is far.
Cox Island.
What is it? What is that island in, not... Is it amongst in the archipelago of Andaman?
No, it's further away. It's near. It's about 6 hours, 7 hours flight from 6 hours flight from
Bangladesh is Cox Bazar.
Cox's Bazar.
Coxy Bazar.
Cox's Bazar. Cox's Bazar.
Achha, Cox's.
Cox's Bazar was in Bangladesh. No.
Achha, this is different.
No, but that is in the way of near east of yeah, west of Perth.
Perth, achha, okay.
That's it's a refilling station.
Okay. From there to Perth.
From there to Perth, there to Perth. Perth, in the way I picked up somebody talking to me, because I'm a member of the, he had been to India. And he said, I've got, you could change in Sydney. I said, yes, Sydney. He said, come to my club and I'll give you a nice bath and things like that. So he took me there to from Sydney. I went to his club. By the time I came back to that place to see at the airport, they had left.
Okay.
And they actually had note that they come to Melbourne club in Melbourne. So I got into that aircraft and to Melbourne club, Melbourne. So I saw the taxi maker, please take me to Melbourne club. I said, sure? Yes, sure. So I went to Melbourne club and he said, I'll wait for you here. And you go in. So I went in, the hall porter told you, yes sir, your room is booked. And come along. So I went and picked up my bag and came in and he left. So there's one Colonel Sanders I told you before, who was Johnny's uncle. He was also in the mission. And he had gone, at that time he had gone for Christmas time with his brother, with his Johnny's father. I did not know. His guy don't roll. And then of course he got gout.
Okay.
So I used to help him in the club, sit in the tub, putting water in it and everything, gout and all. Then I took him to the hospital, Hyderabad Hospital. There and back. I used to look after him and all. So I had dropped him to the hospital and came back. And hall porter came down, I was sitting there, hall porter came, said, sir, there is a lady, he wanted to, a REN officer, REN, wanted to see Colonel Sanders. But I told her that he's not here. But then would you like to talk to somebody else? He said, yes. So I said, would you like to see her? I said, certainly. So that's how I went there. I said, Tony was standing there, saluted me, that's what she doesn't like.
She doesn't like that part.
I have a uniform, so naturally he had to salute me anyway. So anyway, so that's how we met first time. Then I went to Colonel Sandy and told him, okay, that's all right. He said, yeah, my brother's brother. So that's how we met. That was the other thing.
Auntie is telling the truth?
Where is the salute?
She only disbelieving the salute. That's all.
That's okay.
That was that incident. But that eventually I. Then we got a flat of our own, in Melbourne, and everything was okay. But going back on that losing aircraft, I'm telling you, when we formed 5 squadron, we all went to Allahabad to pick up the squadron.
What aeroplane?
Hurricane.
Okay.
And there was Minu
Hurricane Uncle Bamroli? Allahabad Bamroli?
Bamroli. They were the Minu engineer, myself, and Mayor Singh, and Mukherjee, and this 2 other people. There was one Parsi boy, I forget his name, a very nice chap, boy. So there were one flight was mine, but Mir Singh left and I followed and he followed afterwards. Me no engineer, Mansukhani.
Mansukhani, तो दसिया सी होनी है.
Mansukhani. So Mir Singh landed, I landed with my Bhopal, and the other people didn't come. Waited. Then news started coming in. One aircraft landed here, one aircraft landed there. They lost themselves and all. And
Landed uncle in the fields or
a field,
in the fields?
fields, and force landed and all,
Getting lost?
getting lost. So we lost 6 or 5 aircraft.
But aircraft were damaged badly, uncle? Right off.
Right off. So sorry. I mean, that was the
Including Mukherjee?
Mir Singh, no, Mukherjee. Mukherjee was
ये और Mukherjee से. अच्छा.
Then Mukherjee followed Mir Singh, so he arrived.
He landed. You landed.
I landed with Hajar Hassan Bajay landed and all. Minu engineer was landed, Minu. And Mansukhani, who was flight commander, he landed, first landed. And other guy was a Parsi boy got killed.
Got killed?
Got killed.
While landing.
And that's the reason I remember Parsi, you know, they all body they put a dog in somehow. I don't know why. They do some dog ceremony. I still remember that very well. I was very sorry for them.
No, uncle, they feed it to the vultures. Parsi, they feed them to the vultures.
No.
Dark
They bought the dog to run around something over there. Some customer, they don't know. I don't know whether you saw any dead bird. That's exactly, I was quite surprised. Anyway, that was the time when wherever we went, we were told to the people from 6-5 squadron, they lose.
But uncle, was the weather bad or?
No, weather was not bad. I did not know. I was flying also same time. I was there. I was perfectly okay. Anyway, that thing happened like that. And that's the reason after that, Mir Singh could never forget Minu engineer for this thing, you know. He said, you should have done something about that. And all. Mansukhani was fault, you know, he lost himself. Anyway, so Minu engineer was same as me, because we were together for a long time. We shared the room for a long time, things like that, you know. But Mir Singh didn't like him somehow or the other. Then Mir Singh told me that Pagal in Sikandarabad bhejta hai, there's a head thing in Sikandarabad. Minu had thing done.
That's it.
But anyway, then eventually, of course, Minu got a DFC.
Yeah.
He also got this Mahavir also, Mahavir Chakkar.
You know, MBC also?
DSO.
This is Second World War?
Minu got Mahavir Chakkar.
I think, yeah.
He did.
Yeah,
So he got DSO and DFC for that matter, which is very, very careful.
They were operating in Burma?
Who?
Minu and all?
Minu was operating Burma. Yes, he did Burma. No, he Burma. He was in Burma, also in Kashmir. Kashmir also.
MBC must be Kashmir.
Kashmir. Burma was MBC
Yes.
not there.
No, there was
Burma, MBC was
It
here.
was after 47, MBC. Kashmir.
Kashmir. But I was very sorry about Pali, because this is Pali, because he had a gift of the gab. He had everything going for him, except that he did not want to, like Mera.
Same thing.
He didn't want to fly, but he became the chief. He was commanding the same squadron, 3 squadron which we to have. He was an adjutant there for some time when I was there, and he became a chief of the Air Force.
Yeah.
Then he became governor of Bombay.
Correct.
Then he became governor of Rajasthan.
That's right, Haji.
So मैंने पूछा this time, I mean not this time, this when I said last time before. मैं कहा, how did it happen? You became the chief. Well, it was the time of old Shivdev. Shivdev told me also, because I have been told by Jim Ram that he becomes the chief. Like, okay, fine, I'm very happy about it, but our case, of course, then, in the time being, I asked, Shivdev Nagani, who used to be very Marinal. He said, I saw the pattern coming.
Achha.
And I said, you were concerned that time you were out of it because you would have gone straight up, like that, you know. But here was the case within Jhagara about this thing. They said what happened was that he was made a HAL chairman.
I remember that.
And he said, I don't want to go there. He said, this is where you want to get me out of the way, you know.
Out of the...
So he got a letter from Lal. He said, no, he will be considered the same thing like that. And I saw that letter also. और एक किताब भी है अच्छा उसके बाद then हुआ then point I think they've got this ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ Padma Shri or something Padma Shri
Padma Shri
ਉਹ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ before they became chief ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ he was being nervous so I tried to get me out in the timing that Cherokee now the Bansilal he became the defense minister. Then he got around to defense minister. That was the मैं कहा वो तो ठीक है तेरा हो गया मैं कहा how did Mulgavkar become? I told you a story about Mulgavkar before. Huh? Although when he was, he said all Indian she was a shit. He said that. When I told you about Surinder, they would not cooperate with me. These people, if you go to a new operation, so it's like where you're operating, you know every nook of the corner, every hill, where is about enemy kitte hai, karti hai. None of them went. Only these Britishers, I mean some other people, they went and showed me this thing, no? They drop a bomb there, this is the place, there is something or the other.
Uncle, at that level, I'm sure Mulgaonkar also got pushed through the Maratha lobby.
Maybe.
Definitely, because you must be knowing, he was sent back within 1 week from England by, what's her name, Pandit Nehru's aunt, Vijayalakshmi Pandit. She was the ambassador there, India's ambassador in England, and this chap was sent there as an air attaché, Mulgaonkar, as a wing commander, group captain. Group captain. And there, at a party, he didn't know or he didn't care for Mrs. Lakshmi Pandit. He was flirting with some English lady openly in the party. So he was like that. Mulgaonkar was famous for that. So within 1 week he was back in India. Yeah, he kicked out of England. Must have called Nehru or somebody who was out. So that was his career as far as heritage is concerned. So he had a lot of these things on him regarding dealing with women, but he sailed through.
Mulgaonkar, that time how I told you about that Spitfire incident.
That's the thing.
That was the thing which, I mean, I was supposed to fly that aircraft, you know, and they sent me all the people, the details and all. And without I heard the roar of the engine, I was going down, I heard the roar of the engine and suddenly that it went down and Khalsa they're having a bath, nara sige. Also फिर इन्होंने within 5 minutes, 3 minutes, he wasn't dead. Then he hurt his back badly, you know. Then I went to see him in the hospital. Hospital to बनाया थी इन्होंने अच्छी तरह.
That level, uncle, somebody medically goes down, somebody happens, you get a push from the politician, so you find your way outside. Once in a while when you're sitting there and in the club there, who have been the worst chiefs of the Air Force, and these guys featured way on top. Both the Meras, who did nothing as chiefs. Then this chap, Suri Hunda si pata nahi.
Suri.
You won't,
No.
but he became the chief. And then this fellow, what's his name, Sareen.
Very.
SK Sareen, I know him very well. So there were four, Poly Mera this year, Mulgaonkar, everybody. All he did was, he never liked anybody. I mean, he was always, this chap, Mulgaonkar.
Mulgaonkar.
He'll come and fire the base commander, fire the squadron commander, what is this, what is that. A lot of accent and very Anglo-Saxon, this thing, show off his, but nobody liked him.
There are few people, I remember, who could have done, a reporter hunda siga. Was a reporter.
Okay.
He was also Parsi. He was
Name is typical Parsi.
in my batch. He belonged to a very good family from Bombay, and he also had just rub with anybody like that, And he was a good pilot, and five squadron in 6 squadron. I'm sorry, not 5, 6 in Burma. He tried to force land hurricane and got bogged and went to
Hello, Uncle. It was nice talking to you.
Nice to hearing you.
We got
Now I have to ask.
Your Air Force life recorded now. Now you can't tell any lies. You got everything on record. Kini, okay?
Yeah, there is one also other little interesting story. We can do another day also.
Like what? It's, I don't know which squadron is it. Or do you tiger skin pe hai?
You're a fancy
Okay, number 1.
Number 1 squadron? One squadron. One squadron has got a tiger skin presented by squadron leader DS Majithia.
His personality.
My name is
What do you? Or is it your uncle's?
No.
नहीं होना इधर नहीं होना.
I have that skin, I know. It's not a skin, it's a stuffed tiger.
Head है मेरा ख्याल. The head with the skin.
Pura stuffed just like that.
शायद stuff. मैंने भूल गया, but I seen it. Adhampur, we were together. I was in 101, it's one squadron, and we once in a while they go to the crew room, and this the little plate presented by squadron leader DS Majithia. Saal soon bhi likha hai. Year is given there. I don't know whether they still have it or not.
No.